Hello there, I'm Jennifer from Newegg TV and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make healthy juices using this 2-speed juicer by E-Ware. Little confession here, I've actually been using this at home for a couple weeks now. As soon as it came into the studio, I snatched it up and took it home because I love fresh juice, but it also gave me some time to get really familiar with the product. It is actually one of the easier juicers to clean. Most juicers are a lot of different parts that breaks down very small pieces and is very difficult to clean. This one is actually quite easy to clean, and I have found that most of the pieces are dishwasher safe, so that makes it even easier to juice. You can actually juice quite a lot with it, and then I'll show you how to reserve that juice, put it in a sealable container, and then you can actually juice for several days in one go. So here we go. You get the E-Ware instruction manual and all of the pieces, so I'll start going through those. This is your collection cup. It actually has some measurements on the side in milliliters and then in ounces, and it holds up to 30 fluid ounces in the collection cup. It doesn't look like it holds that much due to its compact shape, but it actually holds quite a lot of juice. So I'll set that aside. Oh, this comes apart like this. There we go. And then just slides right up to the juice collector here. So I'll set that aside. Now this all disassembles in one pretty easy motion. So you just undo the security bar here, and then it all comes out. Here's your pusher, and then this is the top. We have the grating disc here, which just comes out with a little bit of pressure upwards. You just pop it right out for easy cleaning. Then the pulp collecting bucket, pulp collecting bucket here, and the juice collecting spout here. So all these pieces, except for the grating disc, can go right into the dishwasher on the top rack, come out clean, and then you're ready to juice again. Now the base here has a 2-speed motor, high and low, depending on what type of vegetable or fruit you're juicing. So something you would use on the low setting would be like oranges. So that's a high water content fruit. It has very soft tissue, so you don't need the high speed of the motor. You can just use the low speed on that, and then switch to high speed for something more fibrous, like the ginger that I'm going to juice in a little bit. So you want to switch that up to high for like a root vegetable, beets, ginger, anything like that. Okay, so why don't we go over to my prep station and we'll get some fruits and vegetables together. I'm going to make a delicious pineapple, ginger, apple, orange juice for you today. All right, so I've got my basket of ingredients and a little prep station that I've set up for myself. Now you can put most things through the juicer without too much preparation, but it is important to know what can and can't go into the juicer so that you don't damage it and you also get juice out, which is the important part, right? Okay, so I have some bowls here set up for myself. So as I go dividing ingredients, I can just quickly have a place to discard peels, rinds, and also put the cut up fruit and vegetables just to have it ready to go into the juicer. I also have a regular vegetable peeler, an orange scorer, and a knife. Using the vegetable peeler, something like ginger, you're going to want to remove the outside peel here of the ginger. And I'll just do a little bit so you can get an idea. Not too much, you want to be able to have all that good fruit going into your juicer, but definitely remove that, and I will continue that in a little bit. Something like an apple, you just want to be sure to remove any stickers, bring it over, give it a good wash. But essentially, you can send the apple through almost completely whole. So all I'm going to do here is quarter it so that it can go down the feeding tube smoothly. And I will put my apple pieces over here while they await juicing. You can send them through seeds and all. The grinding disc will remove all of that and send it over into the pulp collector. Definitely on something like carrots, you don't actually need to peel these. Just give them a good wash, a good scrub. You want to get all of the strings off, all of the, any remnants of dirt, since these did come out of the earth. You want to make sure you get any kind of dirt or debris off of them, but you can send these through with the peels still intact. Oranges, however, you're going to want to peel these, which is why I got my orange scorer out. This just makes peeling oranges so much easier. Just a great little tool you can pick up at any kitchen store. Instead of shredding your fingernails trying to break through the orange, it actually makes it really easy to take whole quarters of the peel off in one slice. So there we go. That's pretty good. Having this type of pith on there isn't going to matter. You don't have to worry about getting it too clean or too close to the meat of the orange, because again, this is a high water fruit. It's going to compress a lot. The grinding disc will be able to separate that out and extract it and just send it right on to the pulp collecting bucket. So I'm going to just toss my orange right over here into this bowl. And orange rinds are great to save. You can compost these, add them to your garden or your compost heap, or just save them for ingredients in other things. You can freeze them to grate for orange zest, or add them to you know, something like apple cider if you heat up apple cider. So these are kind of handy to keep around. I don't like throwing away too many of my orange peels, but I'm going to keep a few of these today. So I'm going to set these over here in my little blue collection bowl. Now, a big item like a pineapple, obviously, you're not going to send this through with its skin still on. So we're going to go ahead and cut and clean this pineapple into spears before we send it into the juicer. That's kind of a lengthy process, so I'm actually just going to let you watch that in the montage. All right, so I've assembled all of my pieces now here, and I'm gonna put the juicer together and kind of talk you through it as we go. I've got my prepped fruit ready to go. So first up, I would like to mention that this is steel and plastic construction, as I probably said in the beginning. It's kind of a gloss finish here on the motor area, so you can just wipe that down with a damp cloth. You never, ever, ever want to submerge this in water to wash it, because obviously it's electric and you will kill the motor. So I've got the cord here, and I'm going to save that plug-in for last. First up, you want to put the actual juice collecting bowl onto the juicer, and then go ahead and move on to the grating disc. Next comes the pulp collecting bucket, and then on top of that is the actual feeder. So just like that. Then you can slip the metal lock into place. Put the juice collecting bucket underneath the spout at the back side. Get your pusher ready to go, and then go ahead and plug it in. Now first up for juicing, we are going to do these apples. Now apples are a pretty fibrous fruit, so I'm going to set these on high and to maximize the amount of juice coming out of them. Obviously, if you have a juicier apple, these are Fuji apples. If you use something like maybe a Golden Delicious or a Macintosh apple with a little bit softer meat, you could put it on low. But these are actually pretty dense apples I've chosen, so I'm going to set the juicer on high. First, I'm going to put the fruit into the feeding tube with the motor off. Don't start the motor and then add fruit, because it will shoot it up out of this spout. I did it. It was fun. I don't recommend it. It made a huge mess. Okay, so we're going to take the pusher, put that right here. There's a notch here that tells you which way to position the pusher. It can only go in one way. And then hit the button and push down. All right, so I finished juicing all of the apples. I think I did 5 total, fairly large Fuji apples, and I've almost completely filled my juice collecting cup. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this into a mason jar, and this is a 1/2 quart mason jar. You can pick these up at usually at grocery stores or craft stores, anywhere where they have jarring and canning supplies. What's great about mason jars is if you get the smaller ones even, you can juice one day and then pour it into individual servings, so that during the week for like lunches or breakfast or what have you, you can just reach in the fridge, grab your mason jar, drink it right out of the jar. I'm juicing for several people today, so I'm actually just going to create my juice concoction in here and then serve it right out of the mason jar after I refrigerate it for a few hours. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take the juice and just pour it right into here. There we go. And that's quite pretty. Fresh apple juice, that's what it should look like. Nice and cloudy. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna talk to you about juicing on the high setting for the more dense vegetables and fruits. So I've got the pineapple here, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk to you, I did that, the apple's on the high setting. Now I'm gonna talk to you about using the low setting. So I've got pineapple here. Pineapple is a pretty high water content fruit. As you can see, it's so juicy, you can barely hang on to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do these on the low setting. Just stick the spears right into the hopper, again with the motor off first. And then one technique I use, you might have noticed in some of the other footage of me doing this, is after the fruit has been pushed down, I then lift this up and set it down a few times, the pusher, without taking it all the way out of the feeding tube. And what that does is it releases the airlock that sometimes happens between the feeding tube and the pusher, and that airlock creates a situation where some of the fruit won't be able to go all the way through the extractor. So by doing that, it kind of releases that tension so that the fruit can then go all the way through. Throw in the ginger, carrots. Okay, so as you see, we have this beautiful, vibrant juice. I have enough saved up for later and 2 servings for our lunch right now. Also, I just wanted to point out, here is the pulp that I've collected from this just one afternoon of juicing. Now this pulp can be composted, and actually there are recipes available if you check out online for things you can make from the pulp. So don't waste it if you have the time or the availability to turn this into something else. This is still very fresh, very nutrient-rich food, so you don't want to just toss it out. Another feature I forgot to mention on the juicer is that it has plunger cups. I was just quickly reminded of that when I was putting it on the counter here. We have plunger cups on the bottom that keep it stationary while you're juicing. They're very, very helpful. Anyway, I thank you very much for joining me in my kitchen today. If you've liked this video or found it informational, please like it and subscribe to our various YouTube channels. Until next time, I'm Jennifer, and thank you for watching Newegg TV.